Hey everyone, it's Alexis. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. I am finally back. We actually got back a couple days after the New Year, but between unpacking, getting our house back in living order after being gone for 2 weeks, spending time with our clingy dogs, and then just the mess that was our country last week, I didn't have it in me to film and record and put anything out. I did do a lot of planning, so now that I'm back and I'm in the swing of things again, there will be a lot of content. So as you can tell by the title of this video, this is my review slash overview of Silver Dollar City at Christmas. We were able to go, and I'm gonna give you pretty much the rundown of how the day went, what were some of the things we liked, some of the things that we were upset about, whether it's because they didn't offer it or just it messed with that Silver Dollar City feeling. And I'm gonna share some footage. I took a couple of videos both with my Osmo and just on my camera, on my phone I mean. And yeah, I'm really glad you guys are here. I'm going to give a little bit of a life update at the beginning of this because I have been gone for so long and some things have changed. Our Disney trip, we will not be going for a week at my birthday now. We were talking with my in-laws, his family, while we were up in Oklahoma, and we decided we were going to do a big family trip. So instead of going for my birthday, we will be going a week and a half later, and we'll be doing Disney and Universal. Even though this is going to be a family trip, nothing's gonna change. I'm still gonna vlog, I'm gonna record, I'm gonna bring content for you guys. We're just expanding the scope. So instead of just one day at Universal, we'll be doing 3, and I'll be able to bring you more footage of that. I know I typically only do Disney stuff, but I am big in Harry Potter. I'm a kind of a nerd about that. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, so all those trip vlogs are gonna be pushed back towards middle of summer, when I get them all edited and start putting them out. But it is what it is, and we're gonna have a great time. So really looking forward to that. I think that's the only big thing that impacts my channel. So let's just get right into it. Silver Dollar City at Christmas. Okay, so we get there, they don't open until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They were open from 1 to 10, I think, the day that we went. And we went 3 days after Christmas. We went on the 28th, and it was busy. So they have like multi-level parking, and it's not like in a parking garage, it's like down the hill. If you've been to Branson, if you've been to Silver Dollar City, you know that it's pretty much all situated in hills. It's in the Ozarks, so it's all nice and spread out and hilly. And we had to park down a little bit of ways away from the main entrance, and the lines to get on the trolley tram system to get transported from our parking lot up to the entrance was just way too long. So we ended up walking. So that was kind of my first tidbit, that it was going to be crowded. I don't know if they're operating at capacity, at a specific capacity, but there was a lot of people there. A lot. So I don't know if now that they're in their off season, if they're gonna tweak it a little bit how they're doing it, or if they're just gonna keep running it as normal, or like how they have been doing since reopening after the whole quarantining, lockdown, closed due to the crap storm that's been going around for the past year. So that was one of the things that if they were operating at a capacity, it was either a really high capacity or they weren't operating at a capacity at all, because there was a lot of people there. The wait for lines was ridiculous. And I mean, we've always had to wait in lines, and it's one of those things, but I don't know, I feel like there was more people there, or they just, I guess because we're almost a year into this, people are tired of social distancing and not being right up on top of each other. And even though for most ride queues there were the 6 feet apart markers, nobody was paying attention to them. So yeah. But that, I can't really discredit Silver Dollar City for that. I mean, they didn't have a lot of, like, I mean, there weren't, like, workers stationed throughout the line queues saying, hey, you know, 6 feet apart. But they can't really control what their guests do. Everyone was wearing a mask, and that is still required for entry. You can only have it down if you're eating or drinking. So that wasn't that bad. And workers were required to give you hand sanitizer before you got into, like, the individual, like, ride car lines, like once you got to the top of the line. The only way around that was if you were wearing gloves. Like, I was wearing gloves, not like the surgical disinfecting type of gloves, like I was wearing winter gloves because it was cold. But that was, and I wasn't like touching everything, so, but that was the only way around that. And I kind of liked that they were doing that. I know some people are like, it's ridiculous, you know, like at the end of the day, but I appreciated it. All of their Christmas decor was out still. All their lights, and oh my goodness, their lights. I'm going to include footage because we took a lot. I would say that the only other place I've seen that many lights, and it's, I mean, I used to do Hershey's Candy Lane and their sweet lights and Christmas Village, and we talked about all of those in our holiday traditions video, which I'll put a link to right up here if you want to go check that out. I know we're not at the holidays anymore, but it's a distraction. But the only other place that I've seen this many lights was when Hollywood Studios had the Osborne lights, and they had them like up on top of everything in the middle. So, and it wasn't quite as many, or maybe it was, but they're just like, it takes up the entire park, not just one specific section. But there was a lot, and you'll see that in this footage. So many Christmas lights, so many just decorations, moods. They still had their a cappella group, which is already, like, they're already dressed in, like, period piece costumes, because this is supposed to be, like, an old-timey, I don't want to say Wild West, but like pioneer style themed park. I'm struggling. It's not Monday, but it feels like Monday. At least up in here it does. But so they had like, but this was, it felt more like Dickens instead of like pioneer. Like it was beautiful, and I don't know if I got any footage of it. If I did, I'll make sure to include it right here. But it's amazing. So beautiful. As somebody who grew up in the Northeast, and I'm used to cold winters, cold Christmases. I mean, we might not have always had a white Christmas, but it was typically cold. Being up in the Ozarks and having all the sights and smells and lights of Christmas, and it being cold just kind of made me feel like I was at home, even though I haven't been up in Pennsylvania for Christmas in years. But it was magical. It was magical. And as it got darker and the lights started coming on, oh, again, I'll make sure that there's footage. But yeah, so they still had the Christmas train, and again, that was something that if you watched our holiday traditions video, my husband talked about, and it's pretty. The train is all decked out in lights. You go along the regular train track that you would go through during any other time of the year, but instead of the conductor telling dad jokes, we're singing Christmas carols, and they're telling holiday dad jokes, and it's just really pretty. And then if you've watched my other review of Silver Dollar City with the train, you know that there was always like those two brothers, Alfie and Ralphie, and they try to hold up the train and rob it. But instead of doing that type of thing at Christmas time, they do the Christmas story. And again, I'm sure we talked about it in that holiday traditions video, but it's pretty. They have like different like yard stand-up light things. It's like a big nativity scene in the back, and as the grandpa is telling the story, they all light up, and it's just beautiful. It's, even though we went after Christmas, but it was magical. It still had that warm, fuzzy holiday feeling, and I love it. So, still had that. Things that they didn't have this year. Really, the only thing that they didn't have and that couldn't be modified was the Christmas Carol stage show, which kind of bummed most of us out. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't have like the nostalgia want for it. I mean, I want to see it, but my husband and his mom were both disappointed, but it makes sense. It's hard to social distance in a theater, so that was something that was missing. It was there 2 years ago when we had gone, or I guess 3 years ago. That was one of the only things that they didn't have. They still had parades, which is like a Rudolph themed, and we didn't actually stick around for it. They were offering 2 showings of it, but we didn't watch either one of them. But something that I did notice, and I don't know if I have any footage of it, and if I do, I'll make sure to find it and clip it and include it right here, was they had like social distancing squares set up all along the parade route. So it would be a square, and you could put your family there, and then there was another 6-foot square on either side that nobody could go in, and then you know, further and further. I don't know how well that played out. I don't know if people actually listened, or if Silver Dollar City had any workers there that were ensuring that distancing was taking place. I know that's a big thing that Disney has done away with because of how hard it is to maintain social distancing, even if you have markers laid out. So, but they still had that. The biggest thing, and when I say that this is the biggest thing, I mean it is the biggest thing. My husband had complained about it for 2 years from the last time we were there at Christmas to this time, was their Christmas tree, much like Cinderella's Castle, the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom, the Chinese Theater at Hollywood Studios. They have a Christmas tree that does light projections. And his biggest hang up the last time we went, before a couple weeks ago, was they didn't do the Carol of the Bells. And I had to hear about it for 2 years. So we walk up, we're getting ready to leave, so the Christmas tree is right at the entrance. And we're like, let's stick around for a little bit, see what's going on. And we were there not even 2 minutes, and it started playing. And the smile on my husband's face was worth it, but that was something that they still included that we hadn't seen the last time we went, and he was very happy. So that was awesome. Okay, all that being said, would I recommend going? Yes. If you can go to Silver Dollar City at Christmas anytime, any year, go. It's beautiful. The lights are just so pretty. The rides are amazing. And so if you're from anywhere up north that has amusement parks, I'm thinking specifically Hershey Park, not all of the rides are available at the Christmas time openings. Really, it's just a few of the little rides. There wasn't a single ride, or I think there was one ride, one roller coaster that was not open because of operating in colder weather. But Time Traveler was open, Outlaw Run, Fire in the Hole, Thunderation. Thunderation had a really long line, and if you've ever been to Silver Dollar City and you've gone multiple times, there's no reason that Thunderation should have a long line. It is a little kid roller coaster. And it had, I think, the highest wait time out of any ride in the park, and that's ridiculous. I mean, obviously some things like the Flume, the Great American Plunge wasn't open, the Mystic River Journey wasn't open, those types of water rides, obviously, because you can't operate in cold weather. But it's worth it to go. A bunch of rides are open. All of their shops are open. Typically, they'll have shows. They have typically they have their a cappella group going around, and they can actually stand, and you don't have to be distanced out. But it's amazing, and I would definitely recommend going. Would I recommend going during a pandemic? I went, so I obviously can't sit here and be like, no, you can't, you shouldn't go. No. Just know that while Silver Dollar City might be doing everything in their power to ensure the health and safety of their workers and their guests might not always be accommodating. And I feel like that's an issue no matter where you go. I just think that some places are better at handling it than others, if that makes sense. I feel like Disney does a lot more with their workers to ensure and promote the health and safety than I've seen Silver Dollar City do. But it is what it is. Hopefully by this next Christmas we won't have to worry about this. Fingers crossed that we won't have to worry about this. But yes, I would recommend going at least at one point in your life to Silver Dollar City at Christmas. Do it. You won't regret it. It's beautiful. It smells amazing. It looks amazing. And you won't regret it. I feel like this was a long-winded video. I feel like I went down several different rabbit trails. I feel like I talked in circles a lot. And if you're still here at the end of this, thank you. Please make sure to like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below what some of your favorite amusement parks are for the holidays. If you've ever been to Silver Dollar City, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. It's that little red button down there, and tap the bell notification icon right next to it to be notified anytime I upload new content. Here in a very, very near future, I think it might even be as early as this Friday, I am going to start putting out a series on Disney planning videos. I am not in any way certified. I'm not a travel planner. I'm not a travel agent. I don't do this for a living. I'm not certified. I'm not verified by anything in particular. I just really like planning videos, and I have a lot of useless knowledge up here that's just taking up space. So the first part of that series, like I said, should be coming out on Friday. It's all going to be about when is the best time to go to Disney, and make sure that you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on so you don't miss any of it. I hope you had a great holiday, and let's hope that this year is better than the last. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.